Hey everybody, you're watching Call the Cornstar. In the last episode, we crossed the halfway point of our planting season. We got all 1,000 acres of our soybeans planted, and then we started diving into corn. Unfortunately, we got rained out. The North Farm, Zach's, Luke and Ashley's, and the intercrop plot were our first planted cornfields. They are currently battling a crusting issue. The field around DC's house, west of DC's, the front of Uncle Orland's, and the middle of Grandpa's were our second planted cornfields. Those were the ones we just got rained out of. The cornfields we have left to plant are the back half of Uncle Orland's, the Hanson Farm, the back of Grandpa's, and the Bush Farm. So today I'm gonna go check out the crusted fields and see how they are coming. They should have crop coming through about any moment now. We're gonna get equipment ready, and then we're just gonna sit and wait for things to dry up, so hopefully we can get started planting. I've got some corn that has got to just be about ready to come through the surface. So we're gonna go run around, we're gonna go with our flags. We're gonna do some flag tests, emergence tests, to see how stuff's coming up out of the ground, so that way we have an evaluation platform we can actually go off of. Here's the real moment of truth on the North Farm. Do we have any corn up at all? Came out here a couple days ago, and we had a pretty good crust going on the top, so this rain really came at about a perfect time because it's just softening up the top enough. It's gonna let that little baby kernel of corn come right through. Yeah, we're probably here at just the right time. Look at that, we got a little spike. This is a flag emergence test. We got a flag down there, we got our tape measure, and we measure out 17 feet 5 inches. We mark another flag. So what we're gonna do, all these little corn plants are just starting to come out of the ground. Like they're just hardly just a little spike, just like that. So we're gonna put a green flag next to the ones that we see right now. We'll come back later, and then we will do it again, but we'll have a different colored flag. We'll keep coming back every day until every single one that is supposed to be here is out of the ground. This test is extremely important because it basically tells us how even our ear sizes are going to be. Last year, I ended up pulling every single plant in the 17 feet 5 inches on all 24 rows of our planter, and this was the result. We have some big ears, we have some small ears, we have some medium ears. Some people can get a more even stand like this, so I am definitely trying to improve upon this year because I feel like we're leaving a lot of yield on the table simply due to emergence. Corn is hyper competitive, so you want everything out of the ground at the same time. That way they have equal fighting ability. It'd be like having a 20-year-old fight a 5-year-old. The 5-year-old's gonna lose pretty much every single time. The ones that come out of the ground first are the 20-year-old. The ones that come out later are a 5-year-old. And these just out-compete it for every bit of resource. On the North Farm, we had 15 of them come up on day 1, so we're missing 15. Zach's has 7 up. Ooh. How are we doing? Hey. This is the back of Grandpa's farm by Luke and Ashley's house. So we're gonna call this Luke and Ashley's corner. We have one. He's just barely creeping out of the ground. Looking at the field west of Dad's house, Cooper planted this one with the white 24-row planter. He's having an issue with the center 4 row cleaners. See how that spot right there is definitely lighter than those strips are? For some reason, he cannot seem to get them to go down into the ground at the same depth of the other ones. They're on the same settings, same air pressures, same everything. So we really need to dive into that and figure out what is actually going on, because those 4 rows out of 20 not getting cleaned and getting trashed down in the furrow, that is definitely going to be wiping some yield from us. And this is the field I got rained out in last night, but see the difference in the strips?
Cooper and I, plus Ellie, we are cleaning out the 16-row planter today. Cooper's running around with the vacuum cleaner, cleaning out the boxes. I'm taking the seed plates out, gonna soak them up, wash them up really good. Got a little wing bolt we gotta take off, and then we can pull the disc blade, clean out the, they're kind of dirty. They get kind of film on them. I don't know if you can see that. So we like to get them cleaned up before we put it away, so next year they'll be not sticky.
This is Dad's planter, which is a 1991 white 6180. It's ground drive with chains and it's spring downforce. So this is a pretty standard planter from the 1990s. We only use this for soybeans, and we use the 24 row for corn, since the 24 row has more technology on it, more adapt for precise placement for the corn. So with this soybean planter, we only planted 120 acres with it this year, so we didn't really have much wear and tear, and we did go through it last season and replaced a whole bunch of parts on it. So Dad did find a couple rows. He's just pulling apart. He's just checking tolerances. He did end up fixing a couple things. Then we just pulled it outside, got it blown off, then we power washed it. So this will be ready to sit inside the shed, and it should be all ready to go for next spring now. Okay, Edward, you can say hi. Oh, let's take a look at tabletop, see if any of these beans are up over here yet. We ran the row cleaners in this field too, but the problem was after we planted it, then we got big winds, like 40-mile-an-hour winds for a couple days. And so it ended up basically just taking all of this trash and blowing it right over the top of our row. But we should still be able to see some stuff coming up. Yeah, look at that. Got a bean just cranking its little head up out of the ground. Another one right there we can see. Oh yeah. There's some beans coming up. Check out Kristen and Rusty's here. This was the first planting field we had. Hey, these beans are quite a bit further ahead. Look at that. Coming out of the ground nice.
Today we are changing the tires on the sprayer.
Prior to planting, we run out in the fields and we apply products to help suppress weeds from growing through. That is called a pre-emergent product because it is before the corn and soybeans have emerged from the ground. But now that everything is coming out of the ground, we need to swap the 650 tires off and put the 320s on because we're going to need to start driving down the rows once we start spraying post-emergent. Because if we run these 650s, they're almost as wide as the row. So it's practically impossible to drive down the row. So putting the pizza cutters back on. The only major difference between the 650s or the fat tires and the 320s or the skinny tires is compaction. The 650s have a lot bigger footprint, so they float more, and we don't leave as much of a rut going through the field. Grandma Judy just called. She says she needs some help mowing her lawn. Hopefully we can get a free supper out of it.
Wait a minute, wait a minute. Let's do one thing at a time.
Okay.
This is the blower.
Well, what about the weed whacker?
Yeah.
And the lawnmower?
One thing, you're going to throw me off. I need this taken off. I can't get it off, so I can put it on the charger.
Okay.
Where's my chargers?
One's right there and one's in my hand.
Okay, set them there.
Okay.
I can't get this off. I can't get them off, so I couldn't finish blowing. You're going to need two hands.
Oh, yeah, that one's tough. Finally, when you come back a day later, how many more come up? So our blue flags are day number 2s that came out of the ground. This is a day 1. See how big it is? And then it's funny, you come back later and you're like, man, how did I miss that one earlier? Well, it just wasn't there yet. There's a couple of these blue ones that are actually fairly tall. So it's amazing how much they grow in a single day. That guy wasn't out of the ground at all yesterday, but that one was when we were here. The crusting on this farm has impacted us, at least on these initial ones coming out of the ground, because take one like that guy's pretty big, and then literally go one row right over. We got one more. That one must have broke through the crust first. Then we got ones that just like that, kind of barely coming out.
Cooper and I are down in Uncle Orland's farm right now. We are checking the dirt to see if he can start planting, which I'm guessing probably will work out. Funny how they're still, I mean, don't seem like we've been getting pounding rains, but still kind of a crust, ain't there? Just a little bit damp yet to go to the field. Maybe a couple hours, we could try it again. In the meantime, Cooper's trying to take some stuff out of the machine shed here, cold storage. We are not going out to do beans today, but tomorrow we are going.
Speaking of Beanhead, I'm gonna get a hold of Ryan, the combine mechanic, so he can come get our combine and get it fixed for harvest.
But the reason he's getting that out, we want to get the 16-row white planter put back in the corner one of these next days. Get it unhooked from the tractor since we are done with that for the season. So he's just trying to make room. That would look really, really good with some LSWs on it, the big floaters. What are you doing up there? What are you doing?
Do we have the seed tender full with new seed?
Yeah, two on the back, I think, or no, 2 on the front. 2 on the front's plumb full.
The John Deere planter is completely empty right now. Cooper has a friend that sells some seed, and Cooper wants to try a couple bags of it. So we got 6 bags in the shop. We're just gonna dump in while it's empty, so then we're not intermingling it with the other seed. Then we can kind of have a little test area and just See how it does. These are some heavy bags of corn, 61 pounds. The stuff we've been dealing with has been like 45. If we didn't have a seed tender, this is how we would load the planter. Back the truck up, carry it up the little ladder, a bag at a time. And each side can hold 50 bags. Oh, it's a big step. Now we're still waiting for this soil to dry. The scrap guys still have their big scrap trailer here. It's full of 10. Well, I have a pile of 10 sitting right here that is scrap. What could go wrong? Look how much better that looks now. Just got to get rid of that grass and it'll be pretty. We're really trying to get in the habit of putting stuff away done and ready to go. So then when it's crunch time next year, you're not messing with it. You can just pull it up out of the shed and go. It's also really fresh in your head once you just got done using it. Where if it sits for 7 months, then you kind of forget. This is Uncle Orland's farm. Last fall, we fixed the waterways on it, so we ended up changing the direction we plant the field in. So we did end up running a little bit of vertical tillage on this. We can see by the ground that's been worked up, and I noticed a little problem. Notice how there's a bunch of the trash down inside of the furrow because this field had vertical tillage done to it, so this top fodder just got mixed up in the top 2 inches. So now we're basically planting into that. So as we dig, we just keep exposing new bits of fodder. This is one reason why I don't care for vertical tillage too much. We just mix it up so much. See how this furrow is kind of falling in on itself a little bit, which you don't really want. That one's real bad. It's all full, and then see how the seed gets placed super high up. I increased the hydraulic downforce just a little bit. He has it on the light setting right now. We're going to turn it up to the medium. We'll check what kind of furrow he's making on this next pass. The ones I was looking at here look like they were starting to collapse in a little bit. We're dealing in some pretty soft soil right here, and the tops definitely starting to get nice and dry. So when he's making his furrow, dry soil was kind of collapsing back in. So we're going to try to run a little more pressure on those gauge wheels, compact that sidewall of that furrow just a little bit more, maybe hold that better, get a little bit better seed placement. We are good to go to get started planting. I'm gonna try setting this thing in the ground when I get to the field and just going really fast, and hopefully that mud kind of just flakes right off. We probably did 2 more rounds than we should have in the rain the other day. Yeah, you live and you learn, right?
Hola, Sara.
Hi, Sarah.
¿Tienes planes hoy?
Do you have plans today?
No, no tengo planes.
No, I don't have plans.
¿Qué tienes ganas de hacer?
Tengo hambre.
What do you want to
comer
do?
juntos?
I'm hungry.
Sí, claro.
Yes, of course.
And that reminds you of a taco stand with super spicy salsa. Now, tacos are all you can
You gotta
think
be
about.
careful of those super spicy taco
Say,
stands.
Ask, what do you recommend?
¿Qué nos recomienda?
Try again. ¿Qué nos recomienda?
¿Qué nos recomienda?
Try again. ¿Qué nos recomienda?
Lady, my tongue doesn't move that fast yet, okay? I'm learning a new language. ¿Qué nos recomienda? Good effort. Let's try
Let's
again.
keep going
Let's
for
keep
now.
going for now. Yeah.
Tenemos unos vinos argentinos.
Just got Cooper's little plot planted right underneath the wind turbine. We ran out, so Dad should be, yeah, he's right there on the windmill road. This open spoke somehow, an old rock got wedged right inside of here, which it might have been right here. So then this wasn't spinning at all and ended up plugging all up in front of here. Ended up plugging the rope cleaner, that's how I noticed it.
El policía me dijo que la nota decía:
Now, I have some new files for this farm, so that way I have all the outlines and stuff for these new waterways that are in front of us. That way we're not planting through them. We'll shut off from the GPS perspective. So basically, if I remember how to do this right, take my old USB stick, let's plug it into this phone charger over here. Okay, I should get a little pop-up thing on my screen. I want to import data. For some reason, it looks like my interior boundaries, I should have waterways inside of here that don't touch the edge of the field, but when they translate from Ag Leader over to John Deere, they must not be the same. So I just have my exteriors. So that little waterway in front of me is considered an exterior because it touches the edge of the field on both sides. So those inside ones, I'm probably gonna have to lift over them. I guess that's what you get when you have software that doesn't really talk to each other. It's kind of like Apple and Android. They're both phones, but they don't really speak the same language. Oh well, it'll work out. We've got the last field all outlined up. I got a couple different test plots going on this farm, so I'm gonna be honest, I really don't know anything about anything that I'm talking about. I'm just standing on other people's shoulders and going off of research that other people have done before me who are way smarter than I am. I'm just trying to get a little bit better every day. I feel like over the course of the next 60 years, if I keep doing this, I've got to improve from where I am. We got about 10 hours of planting left, and then we are done planting for the season. And to be honest, I forgot to record an intro, or an outro, so this will have to do. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.